Welcome, everyone, to the very first Eyes on Avs podcast here at 5280 Media. My name is Patrick Kaplan. I'm joined by my co-host, Josh Lefkowitz. We are super excited to bring you the first Avalanche-centered podcast. We wish we were starting with a little bit higher spirits than we currently are, but as many of you know, we did lose Game 7 last night to Dallas. That was a rough
Heartbreaking,
one.
just heartbreaking.
Yeah, bad 12 minutes there at the end. We'll get into that a little more later. We first like to get started with how this team was put together, how this season started, and sort of how we found ourselves into that Division III playoff spot in the Central, and a really good record again for another season. Before we finish off with that playoff matchup with Dallas. If you have any questions, feel free to stick them in the comments or just anything you guys want to say. And let's kick it off. We'll start off first with the offseason roster changes, who came in, who came out, and sort of how the season got kicked off. If you want to go ahead with that, Josh.
Yeah, so we didn't lose as many pieces as you might think we did. We lost Sean Walker, lost Brandon Duhaime, and then both Cogs and Parise retired. Cogs joined our front office, and Parise's doing whatever he'd like to do. Best of wishes to him and whatever he's going on with. But at the same time, we also did bring a lot of pieces in the offseason. Brought in Casey Middlestat, brought in Joel Kiviranta, Jonathan Drouin, Parker Kelly, Brandstrom, Oliver Shillington, and Calvin DeHaan.
Yep. Some of those guys were good re-signings. Like obviously, Kiviranta was great to keep around. He was amazing on the penalty kill this year. He was a really, really, really good depth piece who we really needed. Obviously, some guys like Middlestat, Shillington, DeHaan, Brandstrom, who didn't even make it past camp. He was dealt pretty quickly there. But like those guys, they're good depth pieces. That's what this team needed, and it really worked out. So, and like the guys the younger kids, we had Phil in there at the beginning because Lehkonen was injured, Duran was injured, Nichushkin at the time was still suspended too. Which
I'm so glad that he's still getting over all that. He's been through a lot.
Yeah, it was a rough start. It was a rough start.
When it comes to those young guys, I mean, Ivan, or as we affectionately call him, Ivan Squared. Gotta love that. Yep. Kovalenko played really well in his limited time. Sam Malinsky really turned on the Jets he slowly rose throughout the entirety of the season and became a really key contributor come playoff time. And Cal Ritchie, we'll dive back into him in a little bit, but he looked great. He looked really good in his limited time. I thought he was about to be a future first or second liner to join McKinnon and Rantanen at the time.
Yeah, I mean, we dealt Byram for Middlestat, if everyone remembers there. And it seemed like he was going to be our 2C after Kadri left. And we struggled to find one, and we continued to struggle because Middlestat wasn't that guy. But, you have the kids, Kovalenko, who was an amazing player, and Ritchie, who was very, very good as well. They came in, they filled in, like, the numbers are out of this world for when it comes to games played with the young kids.
Patrick, you're there you go. There you go. Camera's back.
My bad, guys. But like we were just trying to find our footing at the beginning of the season. We started off a little rough. We had the guys, but we didn't have, a cup worthy team at that point. And
we didn't have, Patrick. We didn't have.
Who do we not have?
Goaltending. We did not have goaltending.
Number one.
Before December 9th, the Avs gave up the third most goals in the NHL. And we were sitting at the wild card spot with a 16-13 record. Mm-hmm. Alexander Georgiev was giving up 3.38 goals at average per game. There's a reason we started calling him Forgiev near the end of that run. It was getting bad. So what did we do? We dismantled our entire goaltender. Trades. We dismantled our entire goalie tandem and brought in two guys that were really key contributors. First move we made was trading Juice Onwin to Nashville for Wedgwood. I thought that was a really interesting trade at the time, and looking back on it, I think that is one of our top 3 most pivotal trades we made during the span of the season. Wedgwood was perfect in release. It reminded me a lot of Francois during the Cup run. He looked fantastic.
Yeah, that Wedgwood trade really kicked things off. It was a bit of a surprise because the talk was Annunen was our future. He was going to be our goaltender, and he was going to bring us glory one day. And when they flipped him for Scott Wedgwood, it really set an early tone. That was late November, and we're not in a great spot at that point. He came
Mm,
in, he started winning games. He was really really strong, and then just 2 weeks later, like out of nowhere, the Avs made a historical trade when it comes to this franchise. Uh we gave up Alexander Georgiev after what 3 years since the cup. It was two and a
yeah,
half seasons later, with a 3.38 goals against average and an 8.74 save percentage. We traded him along with Kovalenko, our young prospect, to the San Jose Sharks for
the big
Mackenzie
trade.
Blackwood, Giovanni Smith, and a draft pick. And Blackwood came in and immediately dominated. It was not even a question on if he could be a goaltender. Everyone knew he had the ability. He was stuck with Jersey. He was stuck with San Jose. He came to the Avs, who have a great forward line, great defenseman, and he came and dominated. First 12 starts, did not give up more than 2 goals.
He was
Like
on
it was gorgeous.
the goalie tandem that we affectionately started calling the woodshed was just woodshed lumberyard, whatever you called it. I personally called it woodshed more than lumberyard, but both of them were just incredible names. But not just that, incredible goalies.
Yeah,
They really came in and helped change the tide of this team because our
100%.
defense was fine, our offense was okay. There were some injured guys and some suspended guys. Lehkonen, Drew, and Nichushkin were all out at that time, but then we got to a point where those guys were starting to come back. The goaltending started playing really, really well. And it all started coming together really, really efficiently.
Yeah. Yeah, Georgiev left. He was still the not great goaltender, and with San Jose in front of him, it got a little worse. But with Blackwood, he just took over. He brought our goals against average on the season down to a 2.42, along with a really, really, really stellar 9.13 save percentage. Like it does not
Unbelievable.
get any better than that.
Do you remember what Georgie's was?
It was not great. So let me find that here because I know
Yeah.
he left. Like when everyone gets traded, you start a little behind, you have some issues, but when you go to a team like San Jose, it gets worse. He ended his season uh with a not with a little disgusting 8.75 save percentage and a
Oh, oh.
3.74 goals against average
I
with
mean,
15 total wins, 26 losses.
yeah, just to share a little personal anecdote, the moment that I knew it was coming time to say, hey, we really got to change something with the goaltending. I was lucky enough to go to the Avalanche Lightning game in Tampa. Or should I say unlucky, because 8-2 loss while being the only person I've ever seen in the Avs jersey was just an unfortunate sight to behold. And I walked out of that game saying to myself, we need a new goal. We need new goalies ASAP because neither of these
Hmm.
guys are stopping anything right now. Lo and behold, I think it was like 3 days later. Obviously, I'm probably wrong about that. But pretty quickly after, there's the trade for Wedgwood. And then 2 weeks later, boom, there's the trade for McKenzie.
Yeah. Yeah. They front office really let us know what we were walking into. They knew we have a really tight window here, and they brought in those first pieces we needed to help further our path to the cup. And Blackwood was that guy. They saw it, and 2 weeks later, 5-year extension. He's with us for the next 5 seasons, and that does not include this year. He was still on the San Jose contract, so we have our goaltending locked up.
I am
Wedgwood will be
so
here
excited
next
about
season as
that.
well before he's a free agent, but at this point, we have our number 39, Mackenzie Blackwood.
I'm excited for it because as we'll talk about later, even in just his first playoff appearance, he was great. I was very happy with the way he played.
Yeah, he was wonderful. Even though his numbers, like the Avalanche didn't give up very many shots in this playoff series. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. They knew their game plan. Uh, Blackwood only saw a total of 176 shots, and he saved 157 of those. So
That's not bad.
comparing to that to what Andrew saw was a league high 224 in those 7 games. It was a little rough for them. So,
Yep,
uh, but Mackenzie Blackwood, he's our guy for the next 5 years, and I cannot be happier for that.
agreed. He's fun to watch. He's one of the most consistent goalies we've seen since Kemper
Yeah.
and the season of Grubauer. I mean, it's good to have true consistency back. I mean, Georgia was like riding a roller coaster. I mean, it was
Hmm.
fun when he was good, but once you gave up 6 goals a game, you were like, what in the world are we doing?
I mean, I wrote in my article, which you can check out now on the 5280 Media
Go look
website.
at it. Trust me, go look at it.
Link on our Instagram and Twitter page. Check those out as well if you please. Um, I wrote in my article that Georgiev, when we made that trade for him the year after we won the cup, he had not bad games. Like he was there, he was making good plays, he was doing the right thing. And then as the seasons progressed and he started continuing that heavy workload, the wins stayed the same. All the other numbers came down though. So I remember he had a
Yeah.
40-win season, like in back-to-back years, and it was just it became too much at one point, and he couldn't hold on, and it fell off and fell over. So it was good for Abs fans, good for the office, good for the team to let him go, move on from him, and sort of find a new angle at it. And that's exactly what they did during the trade deadline starting in January.
Yeah. I mean, in January, we do have to mention Nathan MacKinnon, 1,000 career points.
It was amazing. I
Gotta
was
love it for
at
Nate
that
Dogg.
game. It was when he scored the first time, and everyone came on the ice. We were all going wild, and then, Chicago, the terrible, terrible team they are, they love to challenge things, and it came out to offside, so everyone had to get back on the bench, and celebration was
Uh,
over, and
I
we had
totally
to
forgot
wait a
about
little bit
that.
longer. But he finally hit that. He had the great assist, and you know 1,000 point. That's no short stature. Like what a
Not
milestone.
even in the
And the
slightest.
dog got
Really
it.
good for him.
It was wonderful. And McKinnon, he's led our team. He'll continue to lead our team. He's up for the Ted Lindsay Award again this year, which he won last year. The MVP voted on by the players, as well as Camel Carr. And those guys, they have a great chance of winning that one this year.
I think if one of them don't win, we riot.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not hoping for Kucherov in any way whatsoever.
Yeah. Even me in Tampa, like I'm kind of tired of all the Kucherov talk because everybody knows better. MacKinnon is better.
Exactly. Yep. He's I'm not going to talk about Tampa. No one likes Tampa. We beat Tampa. So let's move on here. Let's head to the trades.
Shameless plug of the can't see it, Stanley Cup hat.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right.
22, great year. But let's head to January. A little bit after that McKinnon game. It was 2 weeks. We have the blockbuster announcement later in the evening on January 24th, where the Avs made a very surprising out of the blue trade. They sent Mikko Rantanen to the Carolina Hurricanes for Marty Necas, Jack Drury, and 2 draft picks, a second and a fourth, if I remember correctly. So just like that, Mikko Rantanen was a Hurricane, and it was very, very surprising to a lot of Avs fans, including myself, and some
Yeah,
people were
me too. I
heartbroken.
remember I called you in like a panic, like, what in the world is going on? What are we doing? What's the move here? What's going on?
Hmm.
But I think now we can look at it and look at it from a new perspective. I mean, when it comes to strictly the Avalanche side and the Hurricane side of the Mikko Rantanen trade, the Avalanche won this trade tenfold.
Yes,
Marty
it's not even
Necas and
close.
Jack Drury were unbelievable contributors down the stretch. Marty Necas, I hope we can just ensure that he stays here long term. I
Yep.
love him on that first line in that Mikko place. He's quick. He's fun to watch. He is a dang good hockey player.
Yeah, and,
And
and
we
we'll have
really,
him for at least one more year. I mean, we have him. He had that contract with Carolina, and he looked good this year for the Avs. He really, really, really meshed well with McKinnon.
Yeah. Hang on. If you look down, you see the message. Yes, I still miss Nazem Kadri. We both do miss Nazem
There
Kadri.
will never not be a day where I don't think about Kadri and what he did for this team. I don't care how you take that, because Kadri was our savior.
We will still live rent free in every Blues fan's mind.
Hat trick in 22. That was literally greatest moment. Up to that point, obviously, we win the cup a month later, but at that point, like, I was losing my mind. Like, Kadri, he's a fan favorite, and he will be forever.
Yep. So I do want to jump back to Mikko Rantanen, because that isn't the whole story when it comes to this trade.
Correct.
He did not fit into Rod Brindamore's system at all. In only 13 games with Carolina, only 2 goals and 6 points. So that's 2 goals, 4 assists. He had a -3 and only a 10 PIM. The main reason the Avs traded him was because he was seeking more money than Nathan McKinnon. We just could not, would not, and frankly should not offer him that. So, and then he wouldn't go sign that extension with Carolina. So what does Carolina do? Patrick,
they like to screw with us. They screwed us over, to say the very least, because they decided to trade deadline day. After, like, it was really late in the evening. I remember calling you up and like, what is happening right now? I'm losing my mind. They sent him to Dallas. And the only way Dallas would accept it is with an 8-year extension that he did in fact sign. So just like that, Mikko Rantanen goes from being sent to the East, in the East Coast, Eastern Conference, to being sent to our division with one of our greatest rivals of all time and one of the toughest teams that ended our season last year. And he ended our season this year again, too. So seeing Mikko go to that disgusting green jersey.
Ugly green.
It was heartbreaking. Green. Worst green color I've ever seen, and that's saying something. So he went to Dallas. He signed that 8-year extension, and he fits in very, very well with them. And I don't want to say it, but it's a really, really good fit for Dallas.
Yep, I'd have to agree with that. And just, I still think the trade worked itself out in the end, and I'll get into this a little bit more later. But I don't blame the Avs for the trade, because we got 2 great pieces and 2 picks out of it that I think are going to help us in the long run. I don't blame Dallas for picking up a player like Mikko Rantanen and locking him up for 8 years.
If he's there,
to be honest with you, in my opinion, I've put most of the blame of this entire situation on the Carolina Hurricanes, because they obviously they knew better than to do that. Obviously, sorry,
keep it together. You got it.
I'm trying to keep myself together. I unfortunately know who's sending these.
Thanks, Nick, for the comment. It was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. We appreciate it. But Carolina knew better. They shouldn't have traded him to Dallas. That's the long and short of it, and I'll dive into that a little bit later. But that was not the only trade we made at the deadline. We made a bunch of trades, actually.
The Avs created a brand new team in those 2 days, on the 6th and the 7th of March. They went in there. They were still using AHL players in the bottom 2 line. And the bottom 6 was not great, and we were still lacking a defenseman. And they went in there with one goal in mind, and that was to make this team great. They came out with a trade from the New York Rangers with Ryan Lindgren, defenseman, winger Jimmy Vesey, and goaltender Nicholas Kampf, in exchange for Juuso Parssinen, which I was a little upset to see that go. He had some upside. And then defenseman Calvin DeHaan, who we signed in the offseason, and 2 draft picks, I think also 2nd and 4th.
I was upset to see DeHaan go. I really like DeHaan. I'm not exactly 100% sure why I fell in love with DeHaan the way I did, but I really liked the way DeHaan played, and that's who I was more sad to see go. Parissinen, I thought he was going to be pretty good, but I think the trade is going to end up working itself out for the better. Lindgren played great minutes down the stretch, especially in the playoffs. VC was a good plug-and-play guy, played really well during that last stretch where we benched a lot of our starters near the end of the season. Yep. And then we'll just have to see what happens to Kempf.
Yeah, Lindgren, free agent this year. So we'll see if we have the cap for him. We'll get into that later. I don't think we do.
But and then that's not the only New York team we made a trade with. We got one of the biggest pieces at the deadline, trading for Brock Nelson, and
Yeah, it was
William
amazing.
DeFore. That was, but the place where I was still a little iffy about was giving up Callum Ritchie.
Yeah, and that was the
When I
only
saw that,
thing.
I was like, whoa.
We gave up a first rounder as well. So not only did we give
Yeah.
up our top prospect at the time because we got rid of Kovalenko earlier in the season, we gave up Shillington, 2 draft picks, including our first round pick, for Brock Nelson, who is now a free agent. I understand going in and wanting to build your team for the season, but giving up 2 future pieces like that, uh, that was something I did not look highly on. That was something I was not happy with McFarland doing, especially after Kovalenko, and trading a first rounder last year to Philly for Walker. Um, wasn't too happy on that, but Brock Nelson, he worked really well on that second line this year with Landeskog and Chushkin, especially in the playoffs. That line was dominant. But everyone knows Brock Nelson is a very, very, very good player. He led the Islanders for quite a few years.
And then he came in as a second line center for the Avs, and he was still great. Took him a little bit of time to score those goals, but once he started really hitting his stride, he was terrific as a second line center. Exactly what we needed out of him.
Yeah, we finally
he's not the only center we got. He's not the only center we got. Patrick, want to dive into that one?
I mean, oddly enough, the Colorado Avalanche made a trade back to the East again with the Boston Bruins this time. We acquired Charlie Coyle and a draft pick for our, at the time, 2C Casey Middlestat, young guy William Zellers, and a draft pick. So Coyle, who was a great piece with Boston, he helps that dying team stay a little relevant. So that was
until they fully
fell off the cliff and blew up their entire team. But Coyle's a good player. He fits well in our system. He was really good on the third line. That added a big piece of depth to us as that third line center, and we have him for one more year. We got this upcoming season before he's a free agent again. This is another one of those things where I really like Zellers. I think he would have been good for us in a few years, and giving up him and Middlestat, a little much again.
I will say, though, Casey Middlestat, I know I talk about plus minus being a very flawed stat. Casey Middlestat did end up with like the third or fourth worst plus minus at like minus 40. There was something about the system that we put him into that it just didn't click. And it's unfortunate because Casey Middlestat does have a lot of talent as a center, but it wasn't being harnessed. It wasn't being used the right way. And
I think
there was just no way to make the system work.
I mean, he goes from Buffalo, who hasn't touched a playoff series in over a decade, and he comes into this cup-hungry team with speed skaters everywhere, and I think he just couldn't keep up. He was a little short of that greatness.
And that's the thing about hockey. It's not only just a culture fit, but it's a scheme fit. And unfortunately, as much as we wanted to make it work, Casey Middlestat didn't fit into the system.
Yep. So we shipped him off to Boston. We got Coyle, great piece.
I love that trade.
Got another year with him. There's one more.
The fan favorite
of the evening.
The fan favorite. The fan favorite.
He has
Eric
returned.
Johnson. Eric Johnson.
That was great.
Do you remember what we gave up for him?
I think it was just cash. It was really Philly was like, you know what? We want you to go. We want to give you back to the Avs. And it was not a professional, it was not a hockey trade. It was a relationship trade. They're like, you know what? We understand we're not in the playoffs right now. You have great relationships with Colorado. EJ even said he was looking at the cap. He was trying to see if it would work. He was talking to those guys in Colorado, and they made it work. EJ came back. It was so great to see him back in January.
It really was. And the best part is all these trades really turned into a catalyst for this team. After deadline day, the team went 12-5-2, clinching them the third seed in the Central and another 100-point season. So under every single guise of what could possibly be deemed a successful season, we lost the most like player minutes out of any team in the NHL. We essentially gutted our roster from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. We borderline have a brand new team. out there on the
Mhm.
ice before the playoffs.
We used
And yet we still finished with 100 points.
49 total players this year. That
Unbelievable.
that's a lot. That's a lot of players. For people who aren't certain, you get 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, and 2 goaltenders a game. We used 49 total players this year, including 6 goaltenders.
The
So
goaltender turnover was unbelievable. And I got to give a lot of credit to Bednar. He managed that incredibly.
And that's something I don't think other people in the league notice. Bednar's again not up for Coach of the Year when this is probably the 5th or even like at this point 9th straight season, 8th. You can go 8. Let's not go 9 years back.
Yeah,
For the 8th
that's a little
straight
too far.
season. That's yeah. No one talks about 9 years ago. Let's not do that. So 8 straight seasons, he brought this team to life. He's brought them to the playoffs. He's managed all these kids. He created this team, and to go with 49 players this year, and still not get the recognition of going 49 wins. He got a win per player at this point. 49 wins this
which is
season.
incredible. That is incredible.
Yeah, I cannot talk highly enough about Bednar. He's an excellent coach. All the turmoil on socials about he might need to be fired.
No,
I don't think so.
We'll dive into who really needs to be fired in a minute.
In a lighter sense. In a lighter sense.
But so we make the playoffs. Great. But we get the one matchup that of all the teams in the West, there was one team that just did not match up with everyone else. This was the one team that we knew would be the hardest matchup out of anyone. And that was, unfortunately, the Dallas Stars.
It was Dallas.
Can we stop playing them in the first round, please?
They were the 3rd best team this year. And it was weird because we were only 4 points shy of them. And everyone knows our turmoil this year. But Dallas being the 4th best team, 3rd best in the entire NHL. And we run right into them in the first round.
Which is, once again, why I am a massive pusher of the 1 through 8 playoff system.
Mm-hmm.
Because please, I need to stop seeing Edmonton, LA. I need to stop seeing Dallas, Colorado. I need to stop seeing the same matchups in the East every year. Change it
100%. 100%. It was rough. Like, it was basically locked in on deadline day that we were going to run right into this matchup with Ranson and the Stars. And we had to prepare. We had to clinch first, obviously. Everyone knows you got to clinch it. And then once you clinch it, then you can start easing back and work on your game plan. And that's what the Avs did. They realized we have a week and a half to go here. We have to start resting our stars. We can't let them get injured, which Dallas did not do. Robertson, one of their top forwards, if not their best forward, got taken out with an injury literally in their final game of the regular season. He did not play round 1.
No, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, you never want to see anyone get hurt, but you could argue it helped the Avs a little.
Yeah, it did. It's so tough because all these what-if scenarios. If Robertson was in, if Heiskanen was in, if Landeskog was playing all 7 games and being the fully healthy Landeskog, like he was very, very good. He was amazing. Like everyone was talking about Landeskog.
We'll dive into that in a little bit.
Yes, obviously.
But obviously, we do want to go game by game here, just because this was a long, hard-fought series.
Yes, it was.
So,
game 1, Avs dominated with that victory in Dallas too. It was a little bit of a surprise at how well they played, because it's not like you can just go in there and be like, oh yeah, it's Dallas, it's whatever. We'll fight for it. We'll win it. It'll be close. But no, Avs put up 3 goals in that 3rd period and took it 5-1. Like
goals
it wasn't a close game.
Devon Taves, Arturi Lehkonen, Charlie Coyle, and then obviously 2 from Nathan MacKinnon. He was, if there was anyone that I would point on the team and be like, yeah, he's the MVP for a reason, it's Nathan MacKinnon. 7 goals, 4 assists.
It's not close. 11 total points in 7 games, which was second in the playoffs after first round. MacKinnon played well. So then you hop to game 2. If you take a 2-0 series lead and taking them both on the road, you have a very, very high chance of moving on, and it's not even questionable. The Avs did not do that though. They did drop game 2 in overtime after going 1 for 4, or sorry, 1 for 3 on the power play, which is not always something you want to do. But again, that was one of those games where they had it in the bag and they fumbled it. So Avs
It's
dropped game 2
unfortunate. I mean, I remember I texted you the entire day leading up to that game.
4-3.
I was like, oh my God, Landeskog could play. We really thought he could play.
They activated him that morning.
Yeah, we were excited.
Or the day
we
prior.
thought it could really happen. The 3 goals came from Logan O'Connor, Jack Drury, Nathan McKinnon.
Yes.
Logan O'Connor, the mayor of Denver. Let's take a minute and you know what? Let's give him a little round of applause here.
Let's give him a clap.
We'll give him a little clap. Because
it was so good.
Logan O'Connor, there's a reason you are called the mayor of Denver. You are the mayor of our city. Because when we needed someone to show up when our power play was lacking, you said, you know what, let me turn it into 2 people when we're on the penalty kill.
He was so good. He was our second best player in the series. If you don't talk about goaltending, Logan O'Connor was that guy. He had a shorthanded goal and a shorthanded assist. And he came out with an attitude, and it's for years now. People like he can look like McKinnon. He doesn't have that superstar ability, but he skates fast. He has some hands. He knows exactly how to play defense, and he just goes with it. One of the greatest players in the series for the Avs, and he really earned some respect this year for sure.
Absolutely, he was like, I don't have enough good things to say about Logan O'Connor because
depth piece.
I want him to just continue to develop because he looked incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then we move on to game 3, the return. Oh, captain, my captain!
Glorious. I got my 92 on right now. He's glorious. I was losing my mind. I was so happy. I was on the verge of tears. Over 1,000 days, and the captain finally comes back. Like it was
an interesting stat.
The happiest moment I've had in a while.
Let's put this stat into perspective for everyone. There are only 2 other captains in NHL history who have not played for 1,000 plus consecutive days and then made a return to the ice. Those 2 captains missed time because of World War II. This is something that hasn't been done since 1945, and he did it off of an injury, of setback after setback after setback.
Multiple knee surgeries. And he came back, and he immediately made a difference. It doesn't seem like there's some casual fans out there that I talk to, and I'm like losing my mind over this. Some of my casual hockey fans are like, "Who's this guy?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Who is this guy? This guy lifted a cup for us. He put his
kids
part knee for us." Yeah, it's been that long. He has not played since the Avs won the cup in Tampa, and he came back in game 3 after a couple games with the Eagles and was a difference maker almost immediately. Like
unfortunately, in game 3, he wasn't a difference maker enough. Another game, another really unfortunate overtime loss. In that game, Nichushkin was the only one to score.
This game was bad for too many reasons. You have Landeskog coming in that should have immediately bumped you up.
He hit Mikko in the first minute.
The power play. 0 for 6. You cannot win games, especially in the playoffs, and especially against Dallas, if you go 0 for 6 on power plays. You can't do it. That's something you cannot do, and it hurt this team over and over and over and over because you have power play. Mikko trip that turned into a 4-on-4 in the first period. You have Blackwell trip in the first period. Too many men in the second period. Tripping against Duchesne in the third with 10 minutes to go. And then high sticking double minor with 40 seconds to go in the third period.
Taking us into overtime. Took us into overtime.
If you don't score in those 40 seconds and win game 3, you go into overtime, you still have 3 minutes of power play to go in overtime. And one goal moves you to a 2-1 series lead. And they couldn't score. They could not score.
They fall behind 2-1.
That was such a big issue with this entire series. Like the power play went for a total of 3 for 22. 3 for 22.
To
Can't
put that
happen.
into context, our shorthanded we scored a shorthanded goal in 2 out of 23 Dallas power plays. We were
We scored
almost better
twice,
when
a
we
man
were
down.
down a man than we did when we were up a man, which
And
is,
I
for obvious reasons, not good.
you have all-star after all-star, superstar, MVP, all this good stuff on the power play. It's like no one wanted to shoot the puck. And when they did, there are either bodies there or there's Ottinger there. And I don't know what it was. Like, props to Dallas. They have a great kill. They have a great penalty kill.
And
But when
props
you
to
go
Ottinger
0 for
too.
6 in a
He's
game,
incredible.
yeah. Without Heiskanen too. Like, I don't know. It was
So
not great.
now backed against the wall, down 2-1 in the series. The Avs needed to deliver. And they sure as hell did. Game 4, a 4-0 victory with a Gabriel Landeskog goal.
I was going wild. We're in the lounge there. I'm like losing my mind, jumping up and down, screaming everything. Landeskog jersey on. Everyone's like, "You gotta shut up." I'm like, I can't. My captain just scored a goal for the first time since the finals. It's been 1,000 days.
I know
scored.
I
Wonderful.
posted something on my on one of my social media accounts, and one of my friends saved it. If you did, shout out to you, because I personally forgot to save it. So I'm glad that you did, because I can go back to that, because my voice went up like 2 pitches. My voice was like here instead of here. It was so funny because I was just in shock. Like, I was like, I have a feeling I should be recording. Something is about to happen here. And lo and behold, Gabe Landeskog, perfect wrister. He scores. The barn goes nuts.
Yeah,
That was a game
Arena was hype. So good.
Needed
And
that.
like, you can't talk enough about what Landeskog did, but even everything else, as outshot 48-23.
If I were to look at a game and say that is a definitively perfect game from this team, it was that game.
It set the tone. Blackwood with a shutout in the playoffs.
There were only 3 players on the team who didn't put a shot on goal. And I'm counting 3 because I am counting one of them as Mackenzie Blackwood. The other 2 were Devon Taves and Parker Kelly. Everyone else put a shot on. Lehkonen put up 6.
Yeah, Taves had a helper there too. Like,
Taves did
everyone was involved in this game. It was a perfect showing of our depth, of what our trades did, of what this team is. And they were primed. They tied the series back up at 2. You head back to Dallas, and you win that when you come back home. And they head to Dallas, and they couldn't. They couldn't take that momentum and go to Dallas and shut them down. Dallas put up a great fight, and they won 6-2, which you have to do in your own barn.
Can we skip this game, please?
We really could. I really don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about this game. It was ugly from start to finish.
It was the worst playoff loss since Game 3 of the Cup Finals, in my opinion.
There is one person that we do have to talk about from this game, and unfortunately, it's from the other side. This is where Mikko Rantanen started to take over a little bit.
He woke up. He
started to wake up, put up 3 points in that game, just a goal, 2 assists. He helped Dallas to that 3-goal second period. That second period was nuts. I thought we had a chance there, and then it became 5-2, and I turned off the game.
Yeah, we got 2 goals in just over 2 minutes. It was a 1-goal game. And then you take a power play, Johnston scores, then a couple minutes later, Marchand scores, and it's just over. At that point, even though you got 20 minutes to go, it's a 3-goal game, which in the playoffs is so hard to come back from.
It really was. It was a dagger. It was a killer. It was a killer until we got back to home ice and put up 7 goals in Game 6.
Yeah, and that was without a power play goal, which is crazy because another game, 0 for 3 on the power play, it didn't matter. Like, we showed what we could do. You go from 2-0, it was back and forth. It was nail-biting, heart beating fast, like everything. You go down 4-3 with a Mikko goal less than 2 minutes to go in the second period. But you come out, you get Nichushkin, he ties it up. You get the insane bounce with the McKinnon goal, which ended up being the game-winning goal just 3 minutes later after Nichushkin's goal. And then the 2 empty netters to put it away. But the Avs showed, again, 48-26 on shots, 46-19 in the hits category. The home ice there was exactly what we needed. And it gave us the momentum to move to game 7 and try and win our first one since '02.
I mean, once again, I gotta mention, because it's foreshadowing. I gotta mention Miko again. 1 goal, 3 assists, all in that
In a
second period
period.
from the Stars.
He became the
Just
first player to have a 4-point period in the playoffs.
Just unbelievable work from him.
And to do it in his original barn, it's
It
so tough
hurts.
to see, because being a Miko fan for as long as he was with us, for the decade, and then he comes back and he hurts us, and this is where we go to game 7.
Game 7. Where to start with game 7? I know where to start with game 7. How about we talk about that Josh Manson, Logan O'Connor shorty to put us up 1-0.
Yeah, that was another
Gorgeous.
example of the best killer on the Avs, Logan O'Connor, doing what he does best. And he creates chances, and it came out. Avs go up 1-0. And, that number of who scores first, the percentage and the wins, like I think I saw the number was 150 wins when you score first in game 7s.
75%. 75% of teams that score first.
Yeah, that's a super high number. And again, you can't go always off the numbers, because this is hockey, game of inches, and like all that good stuff. But you go up 2-0 then early in the third period, less than a
Nathan
minute,
McKinnon does
31
McKinnon
seconds.
things.
Like the MVP showed
then-
why he was the MVP.
And then we were cruising 7 minutes of just clean hockey to the 12th minute. Then Dallas gets one.
Yeah, not even at the 12th minute. It was the 7:49 mark. Miko puts one in. He just snipes one right by Blackwood, and there was traffic in
once
front.
again,
But
that's just
heck of a
Miko's shooting
shot.
ability.
Heck
Can't
of a
even be
shot.
mad at it.
Like, it's insane
Then-
how good that was.
And then the stick
And the
break.
penalty. Yep.
Cale Makar lines up for a slap shot. Stick shatters into pieces. Who
On-
was
on
it?
the
Rupe
power
Hintz
play,
grabbed the
mind
puck? Rupe Hintz grabbed it?
I think so. Yes, I believe it was. No, it was Duchesne, because of course it was.
Of course it was Duchesne. He grabs it.
If it's not Duchesne, it's Ranson. If it's not Ranson, it's Duchesne. And if it's neither of them, it's Jamie.
Whoever it is, someone grabs the puck. They start skating down ice. Cale Makar has to take a tripping penalty when he bodied him up. Just unfortunate. 4-on-4.
And it was
we don't
good on
score.
Duchesne for going right into the leg, because you're
That's
trying
how
to
you
either
do it.
score or draw a penalty, and that's exactly what he did. He waited. Makar went down. Duchesne hopped to the other side and went right through him. And there's a penalty, and then Nate just takes an ugly hit into the wall on himself. He toe picks right at the half wall there and goes right into it, and comes up holding his wrist, which is a little worrisome. He comes back a few minutes later, but things were dark. It was 2-1. Dallas had momentum, and then Nate just goes down, and one of your best killers goes to the box.
And then goal.
Yep.
And then another one.
So talked before. Everyone knows game of inches. Girard was like a quarter of an inch away from knocking that puck away on the wraparound try, and he missed it, and it goes right off his skate and goes in.
I do want to talk about that for a second. It felt like the only game where we had the bounces our way was game 6. It felt like game 1, we just controlled. Games 1 and game 4, we just controlled. There was no bounces. But every other game, it felt like there was a bounce that went the wrong way. Whether
we could have swept this series,
a flop, or something, it felt like when things needed to go our way, they just couldn't. I don't know if we made someone upstairs angry or what it was, but
you guys are never happy with us. But
something just couldn't work.
Yeah, we really could have swept this series. We had that dominating game 1. You have those 2 overtime goals. Lehkonen in game 3 there was an inch away. He had the open net, hit a body, flew out. So you're 2 goals away from having a 3-0 series lead, and then you dominate game 4. It could have been a sweep, but things didn't work out that way. You take a bad penalty in the third period. That holding call, that's something that happens in literally every single hockey game. And for the most part, those aren't called, especially not with 4 minutes to go in a game 7. 4 minutes in the game 7. You got to be kidding me. They call that. And Drury went off a man you pull from that Ranson and trade.
Immediately.
It was so quick. Coyle tries going down, blocking the shot with the stick. It gets past the stick and back door. Wyatt Johnson wide open, and he
That was
basically ends the season. And you can say, "Oh, whoa, whoa, wait, 1957, 3 seconds to go." Branson hit the hat trick on the empty net.
I'm gonna throw my pen up in the air because I'm so done with it.
It's
Once
so
again,
disappointing.
I will once again say, like, do I dislike the way negotiations went with Mikko Rantanen? Yes, he was asking for way too much money that we couldn't pay him.
It was
Do
an
I blame
entire
him
year
for
of
not
talking
fitting?
too.
Do I blame him for taking the money from Dallas? No.
No,
But do I still not like him because he's in Dallas? No.
It was
I don't
the
like him.
annoying. It was just the situation was awful, and it was like unprecedented. You go from being a cup winner to being sent off because you want too much to not working out there, and being sent to your cup winners division rival, and you put them to bed.
Yep.
It was so very disappointing to watch. When Johnson goal went in, I had the same exact reaction as overtime too last year in game 6, like just stunned. Sitting there like,
I
"Oh my god, our season's over." Like, sure, we had 4 minutes left, but we had absolutely no momentum. Nothing. And
especially
on
in
the road too.
Dallas. I mean, credit to Dallas. Their barn is loud.
Yeah.
They are a very intimidating place to play. This is
Yeah,
not the
and they
pushover
had without
stars from 10 years
Glassbanger
ago.
this year. Like, where'd that guy go? I think got like arrested or something. No,
Huh?
you know the Glassbanger guy, the guy that's always on the glass with the bang sign, and he hits it over and over and over. I think he was arrested
I
this
forgot
year, so
about
that's
that
what
guy. I think he was. I forgot about that.
And so
I thought
there
you were talking
was,
about Chiefaholic for a second. I thought you were doing a sports crossover.
no, I don't think this guy broke in anywhere and is a fan of the worst franchise in football.
Amen to that.
Yep.
I mean, just the most unfortunate stat to mention. The Avalanche are the first team in the MLB, NBA, or NHL history to lose 7 consecutive game 7s.
And if you throw football in there too, like I know football doesn't go to 7, but even 4 straight Super Bowls for Buffalo, like this is an insane number. And I know you're going in against DeBoer, who's never lost a game 7, and Bednar, who's never won a game 7, but we played a very solid road game for
I mean,
for
just to go
48
back,
minutes.
I alluded to I think there is someone who should be fired. It's not McFarland. It's not Bednar. It's our power play coach because that's atrocious.
Yep, and I think that sits on our assistant. I think that's who it is. I don't know for certain, but I think that's who draws up these power plays. And it didn't work this series. And because of that, the Avalanche did fall in 7 to the Dallas Stars in the first round.
So playoffs are going to be hard to watch now. Thank goodness the Nuggets exist because
And not just that,
they got the job
Colorado
done.
Eagles.
Oh,
The Colorado Eagles, the Avs minor league affiliate. They won their conference this year, 43-21-5. They won game 1 of their series against San Jose. They have game 2 tonight, best of 5 series. They're looking good to go to get the Calder. And so
those are all our
cheer them on
prospects.
as well.
So what you're saying is Stanley Cup within the next 5 years.
Hey. We could say 5. We could say dyslexic 5 and go 2. But yeah, so there's that. They had their guy, what's his name? Their top defenseman. He scored the first ever 30-goal season by a defenseman in the AHL.
Unbelievable.
The AHL's first 30-goal defenseman. So that's good to see. If you guys want to watch some hockey and it's not the Stanley Cup playoffs with some, no offense, but trash
Go
teams.
whoever makes it out of the East.
Exactly. As long as it's not Carolina, I will never cheer for them. Jacob McDonald, shout out to him. Great guy, great player.
I do want to provide a quick update for all our listeners. Game 7 of Winnipeg St. Louis is currently unfolding before our eyes, and St. Louis is up 2-0.
Oh geez, Hellebuck, man, he fell apart again.
What is going on?
Fell apart again. I'll take it. I want neither of those teams. I hate St. Louis. Winnipeg's a little less because they're not awful.
I wouldn't mind Winnipeg. I
wouldn't either. As long as they take out Dallas. Someone. As long as it's not Vegas. Please.
Vegas or Dallas.
I'll even cheer for McDavid at this point. Like
so Our season is over, which means
Correct.
we can look past all the playoffs, and it's now time to start looking to the
Towards
offseason.
the offseason.
This is
Yes,
a
there you go.
perfect comment. Thank you, BSH. So, Patrick, you want to dive into the numbers?
Yeah. So as we sit right now, once the season's officially over, because of LTIR not being utilized, the Avs are 6.1 million over the cap. Not where you want to be. The cap will jump 7.5 this year, but even at that point, you have Brock Nelson, Jonathan Drouin, Jimmy Vesey, Kiviranta, Lindgren, and EJ, who are UFAs, and then Malinsky, who's an RFA this year. You can't sign all of them. You can sign one, maximum two, with the money we have right now. So we're gonna have to look at trades. We're gonna have to look at trying to bring in some draft picks because the Avs have 2 picks this year. They
They're
have 2
not good
picks.
picks either. They're
It's
not
a
good picks
4th
either.
and a 7th. That's not good. We don't have any picks this year. We don't have first 3-round picks for the next 2 seasons.
So
talk about
with
draft day with the
$1.4 million,
NFL, right?
we could try to bring back Malinsky, and I hope we bring back Kiviranta.
We have to get Malinsky. We have to.
I think a guy like Miles Wood and Ross Colton are on the chopping block. I think Brock Nelson is going to get a lot more money elsewhere. I think Drouin gets money elsewhere. VC, I don't think he gets money.
Actually. Colton had another good 16-goal season. He got injured in game 1, which we didn't talk about.
We didn't talk about him because that's what opened the door for Landeskog to come back.
It didn't actually. That opened the door for Wood, who came in for him, and then Wood struggled there in game 2, and then got replaced by Kelly.
Yeah. You're right. I'm wrong.
And it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, we can't. As much as I hate it, because we gave up so very much for Nelson, we don't have the money for him this offseason. So he'll probably walk. I would love to bring Kiviranta back. He's a great player for us, great depth piece. He had another great season this year. He hit 16 goals, which is absurd for a third-line guy. 16 goals for Kivi, so I'd love to bring him back, but we have no room right now. Landeskog's taking too much. Taze is taking too much. Manson, McKinnon, Makar. So
I mean, that's a really solid core. And I love that core more than life itself because they show up, they play every day, and having a truly, fully healthy Landeskog for another season is I really think it's going to put another jolt in this team.
It'll kick us up.
If we can bring back Kiviranta and Malinsky, I to answer your question, BSH, I think those are the 2 moves I want. I don't care about what happens on the outside. I care about what happens inside. Those 2 moves of making sure we retain Malinsky and we re-sign Kiviranta. If we can do that, I will be very happy with the offseason moves.
And I do think we could. It could be time to trade Miles Wood.
Yeah,
he didn't have a rough year. He didn't do what we wanted him to do. He signed until 28-9. So we did re-sign him recently, and it was a big contract because he looked really good last year. He did not hold it up this year at all. He was injured, sure. He didn't play very many games, sure. But he struggled. He did struggle this year.
Yeah, I think we got some pieces that we got to work through. But, yeah, I mean, okay, to summarize everything up, for everything that this team had to go through, from the injuries to the suspensions to the unbelievably bad goalie play. This team had a very good season. We just couldn't reach the mountaintop. And you know what? That's fine.
Yep. Like I said before, 49 wins for 49 players. We couldn't get the goal. We haven't advanced past round 2 since only once in the Bednar era.
And that one time was the cup.
The one time was the cup. The best team we've ever had since probably that 96 season. I wouldn't even go 01. I'd say 96. And so we have to look forward. We can't dwindle on this again because if we do, it brings the mindset back down. We have to go into this next season knowing we have our captain back for a full year for the first time. Not even since 22 because he had that knee injury for the last month. He'll be here for the entire season. You have McKinnon coming out with a vengeance. Like everyone remembers that presser after the Vegas series. He's been here for 9 years, and he hasn't done anything, or they haven't won anything, and they won the next season. So this team has a chip on the shoulder once again. I think they'll be able to come
back. That chip is back, and I'm excited.
Yeah. Does anyone watching have any comments, any questions, anything you want us to answer?
Now we will open the floor to questions. You all can ask your questions.
Because these two crazy people are a little crazy and a little too into this team, and with the Rockies going on right now, that's
we don't want to talk about them. We do not want to talk about that Rockies.
Yeah, let's follow the Nuggets, because
if you want to hear people talk about Rockies, make sure 5280 Media has Rockies Now. Make sure you go follow them on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. They are incredible.
Yes. Check out my articles. There should be another one coming within the next week. I've been with Rockies Now for the past season and a half, and as we continue to grow 5280 Media, more and more stuff will come. We'll be doing our best to get a podcast out at least once a month, if not more. During the offseason will be a little harder, but we have the draft in June, late June, and then once camp gets started back up in September and late August, and we'll be back on the ground running.
Yeah.
So if we have no questions,
you mind if I close it out?
Go ahead. Hit the outro.
All right. That is going to do it for episode 1 of the Eyes on Avs podcast. We want to thank you for tuning in and listening to a couple diehards talk about this past season and what the next season could possibly look like. Enjoy the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs to the best of your ability, and we'll see you soon. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, every single social media platform. Our personal Twitters are linked below. Patrick is going to be posting a lot of stuff about Colorado sports teams. For me, it's going to be Colorado sports teams and a lot of USF news. That's where you're going to find a lot of my stuff being posted. Make sure to follow 5280 Media, Broncos Source, Rockies Now, the Avs page, everything. Make sure you follow us, because we will be updating
on Instagram and Twitter. I run both those pages. It takes some time, but we got it going.
We got this. We will see you guys next time, and remember to watch for an avalanche warning. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.